Yo, welcome to the Damn You 2 Sports Talk Show. It's your boy Ralph Sneaks. Shout out to the whole AIG Productions for helping orchestrate and put this together. Um, Smash the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Um, we got it coming to you, Ep.1 NBA mock draft. It's NBA draft day, so you got a lot of things that's gonna be going on. We're gonna get into the top. Actually, the 14 teams, lottery teams. We're gonna give you a rundown on the mocks. A lot of movement. We don't know what's gonna happen. A lot of rumor of trades. They're gonna be taking place. Not sure if they're gonna take place or not. It's rumored. You already got a situation with the number one pick um, with Atlanta versus Alex Saw, who I think they were going to originally draft first. But in the recent weeks, he's declined to work out for the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks say they have his medicals, they have all his measurements. He just declined to work out. Atlanta's been trying to get a workout with him. Him and his agents and his reps have been declining workout for the Atlanta Hawks. So interesting with the first pick, what Atlanta's gonna do. There was rumored that the San Antonio Spurs tried to move up to get the first pick from the Hawks, but the Hawks wanted the fourth and the eighth pick, and the Spurs thought that was too rich, so they declined the deal. So as it stands today, Atlanta still has the number one pick. The Spurs still had a fourth and the eighth pick in this draft. You still got a situation with Houston. It was rumored, as I read yesterday, that they were trying to acquire both Jimmy Butler and KD, or at least get one of them. So that third pick may be on the move. As of now, it's not. So they currently still have the third pick, but we don't know. It might take place on draft night or leading up to draft night. But as of now, they still hold the third pick. And you got rumors of Memphis possibly trying to move up to the third pick. So you got some teams that's trying to make some moves, not only in the draft, but they also trying to make some moves to free up some things so they can go into free agency and make bigger moves. As we seen last night, if you haven't heard or haven't seen, the New York Knicks traded for Mikal Bridges. They gave up 4 unprotected first rounders, if I'm not mistaken, along with some pick swaps and some future picks. So you got pretty much Brooklyn's blown it up. I think what Brooklyn is going to do is they really need to move off of Ben Simmons now. There's no reason for you to be glued to and tied to Ben Simmons at this point. And some of the other pieces like Dennis Schroeder, I think they're going to move those guys. But what it's going to take to move Ben Simmons is you're probably going to have to take one of those picks that you receive and attach it to Ben Simmons to move him to entice a team to take him. Because as of now, nobody's really blowing the phone up about Ben Simmons. So you're going to have to use one of those picks. In my opinion, that's what Brooklyn is going to have to do in order to get rid of Ben Simmons. They want to move one of those picks, one of those unprotected picks, attach that with Ben Simmons to move him. So you got that situation going on. Like I said, you got other teams around the league that's trying to position themselves to make moves in free agency. So with that being said, man, let's get into this mock draft. Like I said, I just did top 14 teams, lottery teams in the draft. Starting with the Hawks, they got the first overall pick. Like I said, Atlanta's in a situation here where they can go both ways. But I think they're going to take small forward Zachariah Richier out of France. He's a 6'9" wing. He can move without the ball. He's a versatile defender, can guard the 1 through the 3. And I think that's important in Atlanta when you got Trae Young, who's not a defensive guy, and you have DeJounte Murray there. So now you have 2 guys that can guard backcourt players and wing players. So Zachariah Richier, I think they're going there with the first pick. He can shoot the 3 ball. Like I said, he can move without the ball and guard 3 positions. So I think with that versatility, that is what you need if you Atlanta. But if you Atlanta, you need Alex Sarr even more, in my opinion. But with Alex Sarr declining to work out for the Hawks, I don't know how you would take a guy number 1 overall and he declined to work out for you. Uh, from what I read, the Hawks reached out a couple times about a workout and they declined. So I don't know how you take a guy with the number 1 overall pick who doesn't want to work out for you, which is a sign that he don't want to be there. So I don't know how you take a guy in that situation with the first overall pick. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't gamble the first overall pick on a guy that wouldn't want to be there unless I have a deal in place where I draft and trade him, similar to what the Hawks and the Dallas Mavs did with the Luka Doncic Trae Young swap. If I have a deal like that in place, which I don't know if they do, if they don't, but if there's a deal like that in play, then you would select Alex Sarr, and it depends on what you're getting back in return or who the deal is in play with. But as of now, I haven't heard of a deal being in place. So with the first overall pick, I got Atlanta going with Zachariah Richier, 6'9" wing out of France. So uh, that gives them some versatility on the wing, another defender to go along with Trae Young. And if they make this move, I think they're going to keep the DeJounte Murray and Trae Young backcourt together. That's just my opinion. You're looking at what Mikal Bridges went for, and I don't think Mikal Bridges he's not. I ain't gonna say I don't think he's not an all-star player. So you give up a haul for a non-all-star player. Um, I don't think nobody's gonna give up that much, other than maybe the Knicks, because the Knicks are going all in right now for it. And it puts that Villanova connection back together in New York with Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, and Jalen Brunson, and now you add Mikal Bridges. So you got that whole Villanova connection back together in New York with Tibbs head coaching it. So that was a lot to give up. I don't think I think Atlanta may have upped the asking price for a guy like DeJounte Murray. And I don't think nobody's going to pay that. So I think they're going to be run it back with Trae and DeJounte Murray unless they get an offer that blows them away that they just can't refuse. They're going to run it back. They're going to draft Zachariah Richier, plug him in at 3, and figure out what to do with DeAndre Hunter. Because I think DeAndre Hunter's time in with this draft selection, DeAndre Hunter's time in Atlanta is slowly coming to an end because I don't think DeAndre Hunter has taken the next step to what Atlanta likes. So I think they're going to find a way to move off of him. They may try to bring him off the bench and see what they can get production-wise off the bench from him before they move off of him. But if they don't get what they think they can get from him off the bench that they thought they was going to get in the starting lineup from him, they're going to move off of him. And this pick pretty much confirms it. So, DeAndre Hunt is probably one of them guys, too, that you probably going to have to attach an asset to move because nobody's ringing the phone, the Atlanta Hawks phone for DeAndre Hunt. So you're going to probably attach an asset, which Atlanta is limited in because they gave up so much to get DeJounte Murray to the San Antonio Spurs. So I'm guessing that's probably why they wanted that 4th and 8th pick and a future pick back in return for the first overall pick because they know they was going to move DeAndre Hunt at some point. And San Antonio said no. And that would have given the Hawks the 3 picks back that they gave up to get DeJounte Murray. The Spurs said it's too rich, so they declined it. So with the first pick, Atlanta's going Zachariah Richier out of France. Oh, the Washington Wizards on the clock with the second pick. I got them going Alex Sarr. Now I'm not sure why Alex Sarr may feel the need to be in DC over Atlanta. When you have a point guard like Trae Young and you also have another guard that can get the ball to you in DeJounte Murray. So both of those guys combined are going to get you damn near 20 assists. Trae Young is pretty much a 10 assist guy, a double-double guy, and DeJounte is damn near a 10 assist guy. And you also have a big in Jalen Johnson who can get you about 4 or 5 assists from the power forward position. So you over 20 assists a game there, and most of that's going to be contributed to the big man. So I'm not sure why Alex Sarr will not want to be in Atlanta, but I think he's going to end up with being drafted 2nd overall by the Washington Wizards. So you go to DC, you got Jordan Poole there, you got Kyle Kuzma there, and pretty much that's pretty much your team right there. You know what I mean? So you're gonna be in a rebuilding phase. I get it from a standpoint where you may want to be the face of the team at some point, and that's definitely not gonna happen in Atlanta with Trae Young. So from a face of the team franchise standpoint, I kind of understand that. but he kind of wants to pretty much be able to do his own thing. But I don't know how much of your own thing you're gonna be able to do when you don't have a pass first guard in Jordan Poole. As we seen this season, it was a lot of selfish basketball up there in DC. Um, with Jordan Poole, I don't know what happened between. Well, evidently getting the hell knocked out of you by Draymond Green probably had something to do with something. We didn't see the same Jordan Poole in DC that we saw out in the Bay. So, Alex Saw and his reps. I mean, I'm not sure what what they thinking about, but the Alex Saw is not going to fall past Washington at 2 unless they get an offer like I said, I don't know any offer on the table right now because it's still early. Something may come later, but it's still early. But I don't know what type of offer they're expecting from another team. Um, in exchange for the second pick from Washington. But Travis Slink, I don't think he's going to pass up on Alex Sarr, especially after they lost Daniel Gafford to the Dallas Mavericks at the trade deadline. So now you got a versatile big to step in there, 7-footer. I think he's 19, if I'm not mistaken. He's 18 or 19. I think he's 19, though. He's going to step in, be a versatile defender, can stretch the floor, shoot the three ball, can step out and guard the perimeter. And he's a good pick and roll guy, and he can finish. So now you have something to work with if you Travis Slink. You just got to get your backcourt and your guard play in order to be able to facilitate to this guy. But now you got something to work with if you the Wizards. And I don't think Travis Slink is going to pass up on this. This is a building block for the Washington Wizards. So Travis Slink, this is where Alex Sarr goes number 2 to the Washington Wizards. On the clock, third pick is Utah. I'm sorry, the third pick is the Houston Rockets. I'm sorry, not Utah. The third pick is the Houston Rockets. Um, I think they're gonna go with the Reed Shepard, one of the best shooters in this draft, if not the best shooter in this draft. I think this team needs more shooting. Like I said earlier in the video, it's rumored that they're probably gonna go after Jimmy Butler and KD or one of the two. So they're gonna have to give up some assets and some pieces to make that happen. I think with Ime Udoka over there, the team is going for the gusto. They going for the win after Boston Celtics just won and Ime Udoka seen that. Um, and it was rumored that when Ime Udoka was in Boston, he was trying to get KD then. It was KD being after leaving Brooklyn, or rumors of him leaving Brooklyn at the time. The Boston Celtics had got in the mix of trying to acquire KD, and they were putting packages together to see what would get KD away from Brooklyn to Boston when Ime Udoka was over there. That never happened. KD eventually got moved over to Phoenix. So now Ime Udoka is in Dallas. I'm sorry, Ime Udoka is now in Houston. So he's trying to probably get back on the KD wagon to get him from Phoenix. So uh, I don't know what's going to materialize after that. I don't know what the situation is going on over there in Phoenix. I don't know who they want to move or what they're trying to do over there, but somebody got to move. Somebody got to go. So I got Reed Shepard. I think Reed Shepard in this draft is one of the better shooters in this draft, and I think they need shooting over there. You got a point guard and Fred VanVleet over there that you signed in the offseason. Sagoon, the center, he's untouchable. They've already said that he's in no trade talks. His name is not being brought up in trade talk whatsoever. So you looking at if you can get a Jimmy Butler, or that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a Jimmy Butler, but if not, then as it is, they stand pat at 3 and they take Reed Shepard. Like I said, nothing has came from that. That's just rumored. So we still got some hours between now and the draft night. So anything could happen. But as of now, I got them taking Reed Shepard. Because they already tried to get Mikal Bridges. They offered Jalen Green for Mikal Bridges, and Brooklyn said no. So as of now, you got Jalen Green over there, Fred VanVleet over there. You got Dylan Brooks over there. You got Sagoon over there. You got Jabbar Smith over there. And you got Cam Whitmore over there. And I think if you add a shooter, which they were going to need, and Reed Shepard, one of the better shooters in this draft out of Kentucky, I think that would be a nice pickup for Houston, Ime Udoka. So Reed Shepard at 3, San Antonio at 4. I got them. I'm gonna go a wild card here. I've been seeing Stephon Castle here at 4, but I'm gonna go a wild card here. I think the San Antonio Spurs here with the 4th pick got a chance to recreate the Twin Towers and select Donovan Clingan, the big man out of UConn, and pair him with Victor Wembanyama. I think the defensive versatility right there would be insane. You know, the pick and roll defense. Good luck trying to run a pick and roll when any of those two guys are out on the perimeter guarding anybody. I think Donovan Clingan with the drop coverage on the pick and roll, it's damn near impossible to run a pick and roll on two 7'2" guys out on the perimeter that can move. Just imagine the combined wingspan of those guys on the perimeter. And cleaning it, Donovan Clingan, that fits right into a defensive system in which Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs like, in my opinion. Good luck scoring in the paint. Good luck getting rebounds. Both those guys are 7'2" plus. So, you know, if you're looking at the Western Conference, you're looking at look at the bigs in the Western Conference. You got a Rudy Gobert in the Western Conference, but he's not an offensive juggernaut. So yeah, but he's still a big. You got Chet Holmgren. You got two bigs over there in Dallas and Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. You got Sabonis out there. You got a young Sagoon in Houston who I just mentioned. So you know, in you still got, you know, it's going to be tough in the West. And outside of the bigs in the West, you got to look at the fact that the guard play in the West. Look at the guys that can get downhill in the West. You got Ja Morant going to be back in action for Memphis who can get downhill and finish. You got De'Aaron Fox out there. You got Shea Gildress out there. You got Anthony Edwards out there. So you got a plethora of guys who can come off the screen, get downhill and finish. And there's some guys I didn't name, but you know, the West is loaded. It's tough. So if you got two bigs in there that can rim protect, and Wembley's going to be more out on the perimeter anyway. If you do take Donovan Clingan here, folks. So you got two guys that's going to be getting all the rebounds. You got two guys that's going to be playing elite pick and roll defense. You got two guys who can cover a lot of ground with being 7'2" plus. So you got a lot of options here if you the San Antonio Spurs, because you also had an 8 pick. And I think they're going to recreate or could recreate the twin. That's my prediction. They're going to recreate the Twin Towers here and take Donovan Clingan here at 4. Detroit Pistons with the 5th pick. Detroit, I got them going Bazilis. Hope I pronounced his name right. Natalis Bazilis out of the G League, 6'10" power forward. I think, well, they got to get a head coach first. They don't have a head coach over there. So if you look at the roster, over there in Detroit with Cade Cunningham and Jay Nivey, and you got one of the Thompson twins over there, and you got I don't know, I'm not sure if they're gonna bring Wiseman back, but you got Isaiah Stewart over there, and you got the other big man, Duran. You got him over there. So I think if you slide him in here at the power forward position at 6'10", he's a guy that can knock down a three. He's a guy that can finish at the rim. He's a lengthy defender. So you slide him over there, and you got to get a head coach in there, like I said, but he fits right in there at the power forward position. So you got some things you got to work on over there in Detroit, but you're young. You're not in contention to win anything anytime soon. So you can afford to take him here and slide him here at that power forward position. He can handle the ball as well. So you slide him right there, and now you got a young group of guys here in Detroit to work with. You just got to get the right coach and hope you don't have one of the worst seasons ever again in Detroit. Charlotte at 6. You can go two ways here if you Charlotte. Charles Lee, the new head coach over there, just coming fresh off an NBA Finals victory in Boston. You can go two ways here. I originally had Stephon Castle here. Because I think Charles Lee, coming from the Boston Celtics, has seen the defensive versatility in Boston, and he's won a championship with that defensive versatility. He was there with Marcus Smart, Derek White, Pritchard, Tatum, Brown, Horford. You know, he's seen all the defensive versatility over there. So Stephon Castle brings that defensive versatility that you need that can guard the 1 through the 3. And I think Charles Lee would like that. But the thing that I don't think why the Charlotte Hornets will take Stephon Castle is because Stephon Castle, to me, is another guy that's not really a knockdown shooter. and you already have LaMelo Ball and you have Brandon Miller over there, two guys that need the ball. So Stephon Castle to me is better when he has the ball in his hands. He doesn't move well without the ball. He's not a knockdown shooter. So for that reason, I took him out of that sixth spot, even though you can't go wrong with him being in that sixth spot. I think the Charlotte Hornets are going uh, better fit here with this sixth pick rather than best player available, because I think the best player available at this point would be Stephon Castle, but I think the fit it doesn't fit over there in Charlotte, in my opinion. So I got them taking Dalton Connect out of Tennessee. Dalton Connect is a guy who, if I'm not mistaken, he shot like 46%, 47% from the field, 40% from three. He moves without the ball. He's a good catch and shoot guy. And he slides right in at two guard position between Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball at 6'6". When you got 6'9" Brandon Miller and 6'7" LaMelo Ball, you can just slide him in at the two guard position at 6'6". Like I said, he doesn't necessarily need the ball. His defensive upside is still there. He was a senior coming out of Tennessee. So, the defensive, I mean, you can work on the defense, but with his ability to catch and shoot when he doesn't have to have the ball or doesn't need the ball, and you got a facilitating guy like LaMelo Ball who's willing to facilitate, and you got a guy who played damn good ball as a rookie in Brandon Miller, and in my opinion, probably could have won Rookie of the Year if it wasn't for Victor Wembanyama, just happened to be in his rookie class that stole all the spotlight. So you got Brandon Miller sitting at the three and LaMelo coming back at the one. And you can just slide Dalton Connect right in there because he's a guy that doesn't necessarily have to have the ball, such as a LaMelo or Brandon Miller. And I think he can move well without the ball. He's catch and shoot. He can knock down the three ball. As you see, he was 46%, 40% from the field for three, 40% from the field overall. So, that he slides right in there. He's a better fit than Stephon Castle, in my opinion. And I think he averaged like 21 last year at Tennessee, 20 or 21, something like that, 20, 21, 22, somewhere in there like that at Tennessee last year. So to me, that's a better fit in Charlotte when you got LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller already there. Now you got a nice 1-2-3 punch with Brandon Miller, Dalton Connect, and LaMelo Ball. The only issue there would be can we get LaMelo Ball to stay healthy? Because the past couple seasons he's not been as healthy as he should have been, dealing with ankle issues. But that's another reason why I had Stephon Castle originally there, because in the event that the Charlotte Hornets don't like the injury history of LaMelo Ball and want to move off LaMelo Ball, you got a guard right there, Stephon Castle, who can slide right in and already be his replacement. But I think the Hornets want to see another year of both Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball on the floor together, because LaMelo Ball missed pretty much half the season last year due to injuries. So I think the Hornets want to see another year of LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller together, because now you see what Brandon Miller can bring, and now you slide this guy in who doesn't necessarily need the ball, who shot 46% from the field and 40% from three. He slide right in at the two between Melo and Brandon Miller. The seventh overall pick, you got the Portland Trailblazers. I got them taking Cody Williams out of Colorado. I think Portland they got enough guards. They need some front court help, and I think they're gonna move Jeremy Grant. So there's really no rush, because I don't think the Portland Trailblazers are contending for nothing. They got enough of guard play with Anthony Simons there, Scoot Henderson they drafted last year, and then they had Shaden Sharp already there. So they need a front court player, and I think they're going to move off of Jeremy Grant so they can have Cody Williams slide right in. He has the versatility to shoot the mid-range jumper. He has some defensive upside. He can play, make, and create from the mid-range. So that's another guy in the front court who's 6'10", who has length. They can probably step out and guard 1, 2, 3, or 4. I think he's going to chisel up a little bit. Once he get over to Portland. And then, like I said, you still got 8 in there. So at the 5. So I think they're going to move off of Jeremy Grant because they got a guy like this. There's no reason to be paying Jeremy Grant that kind of money when you're not contending. And there's going to be other guys that's going to come up for some money that you're going to want to pay. And Jeremy Grant is not helping you right now, especially when you can move off of Jeremy Grant, send him to a contender, get another asset or assets, and move on from there. Because Portland, in my opinion, is not contending in the West. So why keep Jeremy Grant and pay him what you paying him when you can just go ahead and draft this replacement and move him to a contender? I don't know, maybe somewhere like Dallas or something. I don't know. And I'm only talking about Dallas because they just was in the finals. And a team that lost the finals is always looking for a way to improve the following season so they can get back. So I'm just throwing it out there. But Cody Williams, 7th pick, Portland Trailblazers. This is why I got him going. San Antonio back on the clock with the 8th pick. This is why I got them taking Stephon Castle. I think for one, you bring that UConn connect back between him and Donovan Clingan. Two, I think he's a San Antonio Spur type of guard with his defensive versatility. Like I say, even though he's not the biggest or the most dangerous three ball threat, I think that can come with time. But his defensive versatility coming out of the gate, that pretty much fits the San Antonio system and what Pop likes over there in San Antonio. A guard that can, guard 1 through the 3. You still got Devin Vassell over there. And if you taking Donovan Clingan at 4, like I mocked earlier, then you got rim protection. So good luck getting over any type of pick and roll when you got Stephon Castle at the 2, and then you either gonna be the other defender is either gonna be Victor Wembanyama or Donovan Clingan, 2 elite defensive pick and roll guys, and you already got an elite defender at the top guarding the pick and roll in Stephon Castle. So either way it go, whichever guys is pick and rolling, trying to pick off Stephon Castle, you're either gonna pick up Donovan Clingan or you're gonna pick up Victor Wembanyama, and it's gonna be hard to even get over that pick and roll screen with Stephon Castle's defensive ability at the top of the key. So that's gonna be a damn good defensive trio right there if that's the way they go. But that's how I got a mock going because I don't think San Antonio right now is going to be in contention. So I think they can go another year of adding pieces and adding this UConn connect, this UConn duo, and Donovan Clingan with the 4th pick, and then coming back and selecting Stephon Castle with the 8th pick is going to do wonders for San Antonio in the future. The defensive versatility that they're going to have. And like I said, you still got Devin Vassell there, and you got Jeremy Sohan there. So, you're not bad at all if you're San Antonio, and you're still going to have the cap space, and you still have the assets to go out and get a major piece if you choose to speed up the rebuild and go that route, because they still own the Atlanta Hawks picks from the DeJounte Murray trade along with their own picks, along with the cap space they're going to have because Wemby's still on a rookie deal. They got Devin Vassell. I don't think Jeremy Sohan is making much. Zach Collins, he's not really making much. I think Trey Jones and Devontae Graham, both of those guys on expiring contracts. So you have assets. You got 2 expiring contracts. You got draft picks and you got cap space. And so if you San Antonio in a damn good space, so you really don't need to rush nothing unless you see an open window too, and you already equipped to make a move if you want to make a move. So San Antonio with the 8th pick, I got them going. Stephon Castle out of UConn. So with the 9th pick, Memphis Grizzlies, if they don't trade, I got them taking Tijan Saloon out of France. I originally had Tijan Saloon mocked to go to San Antonio at 8 because if I'm not mistaken, he was former teammates with Victor. They share the same agent. So that would have been a good look in San Antonio to get 2 of those guys together. But I just think Stephon Castle was the better player in at the guard position. I don't think Jeremy Sohan is a bad guy at the power forward position. But I think they need more guard help in San Antonio, having 2 guys on expiring contracts and Trey Jones and Devontae Graham. So with the 9th pick, Memphis Grizzlies, I got them going Tijan Saloon. I think Tijan Saloon, 6'9", 6'10". He can step out, play the 3. If you Memphis, you got to look at the fact that you're getting Ja Morant back, so you know what he gives you. You got Desmond Bane there. You can slide this guy Tijan Saloon in there, and he doesn't necessarily have to be asked to do too much right away because he still has some upside. He has some room to grow in certain areas. You got Marcus Smart still there, and you got Jaren Jackson still there. So I think if you go and get a big, whether it's in free agency or via trade somewhere, I think Memphis Grizzlies will be back in the playoffs. That's if Ja comes back close to 100% of what we saw of Ja before he got injured. Tijan Saloon, he's a guy that can move without the ball. I think his 3-point shooting can be improved. Um, he moves without the ball. He finishes at the rim. And I think when you got guys like Ja Morant that can slash, create, and explosive, he can find guys like Tijan Saloon who likes to move without the ball. So that's a good thing that he doesn't necessarily have to have the ball. And you got a shooter in Desmond Bain and a guy that can also finish. So that'll be a nice spot for him to land and just plug him in right there at the three. And like I said, you still got Marcus Smart there and Jaren Jackson, who's a defensive guy that chips in on the offensive end as well. So you know that you're in a damn good situation if you Memphis and you get Ja back being close to 100% of what he was before he got injured, and you select Tijan Saloon and just plug him in right there at the three, 6'9". So just imagine the wingspan. And Memphis is more of a defensive team. We've seen Memphis play defense. Um, it's just unfortunate they had a whole bunch of injuries last year, and they wasn't even close to the Memphis team we've seen in the past recent years. So I got them taking to John Saloon with the ninth pick, um, where he can just plug right in. There's some things that he still obviously has to work out with upside, but like I said, at 6'9", a guy that can move without the ball and finish at the rim, and you have a guy like Ja Morant that's coming back, and you have a guy like Desmond Bain, two scorers. You have a dynamic finisher who can get down here and find the open guy in Ja Morant. I think this guy can get a couple easy buckets, get some confidence going early in his career, and then he could start to get closer to the upside that he's projected to have with Portland. So I got him going 9 to Portland. On the clock, the 10th pick, you got the Utah Jazz. I got them taking the Devin Carter. Um, with the rumors of Colin Sexton possibly being gone, I think he slides right in. If you look at that Utah Jazz roster, you got Laura Marketing over there, you got Walker Kessler over there, you got John Collins over there, Jordan Clarkson still over there, Keontae George over there, Kyrie Lewis over there, Kenneth Lofton Jr. is over there. So you're gonna need a guard. You're losing Colin Sexton. You're gonna need a guard. Um, and I think he slides right in. He's a good defensive guy out of Providence. Um, he was one of his stock kind of rose in the pre-draft combine and leading up to the draft. His stock started to rise. So if you're gonna lose a guy like Colin Sexton, I think you replace him with another defensive guy that can also score the basketball. And you are, like you said, you also got Keontae George over there, and he's a good decision maker. So you got a guy that can finish at the rim in John Collins, and you got Laura Marketing who can stretch the floor, and then you got Walker Kessler, a defensive guy over there. You still got Jordan Clarkson off the bench over there. Not sure what they're gonna do with him, but I'm pretty sure that if a contender comes calling for the right price, I think Danny Ainge will move him, along with some other pieces for the right price. So you saw the deal that he got back for. You saw the Rudy Gobert deal. So and then you move Donovan Mitchell. So I think Danny Ainge knows what he's doing. There's no question about that. So I think they replace Colin Sexton, which I think they will eventually get rid of him because I don't think they're going to pay Colin Sexton that kind of money. Not in Utah when you got Devin Carter here at 10 on the board and you can select him at 10. So yeah, Devin Carter, I got him going 10th to the Utah Jazz. With the 11th pick, the Chicago Bulls, I got them going Ron Holland. You look at the Chicago Bulls and the move they just made by acquiring Josh Giddey in exchange for Alex. They got rid of Alex Caruso in exchange for Josh Giddey. You still got Kobe White there. I'm not sure what they're gonna do with Zach LaVine or if they're gonna be able to re-sign DeMar DeRozan. And they got Vucevic that's rumored to get traded. So you're not sure what's going on with there. So I think a lot of teams that have been in contact or once were in contact with the Chicago Bulls about a Zach LaVine trade, they got scared away by the contract that Zach LaVine is getting. And I'm not sure if the Chicago Bulls want to give DeMar DeRozan exactly what he wants. So you take Ron Holland here as an insurance policy for Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. He's a younger guy, younger than both. And I think the Chicago Bulls eventually will move off of Zach LaVine. I think it may not be this year, it may be next offseason. Once they pay another year of his salary off, he will probably then be moved after this season, unless they get an offer or just get fed up with holding on to Zach LaVine and they just take whatever offer come close to what they want just to move him. But yeah, they take Ron Holland here at 11. Versatile wing defender. I think he's like 6'8", 6'9", can score the basketball. Explosive, can handle the ball out on the perimeter. So now you got Kobe White. Now you got Josh Giddey. Now you add Ron Holland, who, if they don't move Zach LaVine this year, I think he still will get playing time in preparation to be the starter coming into next season when they move off Zach LaVine. So this is the guy you take here if you Chicago Bulls because you unsure what's gonna happen with Zach LaVine this year, and you're not sure if you're gonna get re-signed DeMar DeRozan. So this is the guy you take here and plug in at the small forward position. If he's not a starter, he's gonna get significant minutes, and he's gonna be ready to roll when one of those two, if not both of those guys, are gone. Being this year or next, being this offseason, the next offseason, or even at the trade deadline. So Ron Holland, I got him going right there at 11 to Chicago. OKC at 12. I think they take Jared McCain. I think Jared McCain is a guy who can knock the three ball down. He can come in because he, like I said, they just got Alex Caruso. So it's going to be Shai Gilgeous, Alex Caruso, and Lou Dort. That's going to be your three right there. And I think Jared McCain is the type of point guard who can come in and still keep the offense flowing. He can knock the three ball down. He plays solid defense. And he's not a guy that I would look at necessarily as a starter, but he'll be a damn good backup and could possibly work his way into being a six man of the year type player with the right team. And I think the right team to do that with is OKC. We've seen it work with OKC having three guards when they had Shai Gilgeous, CP3, and Dennis Schroeder. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Dennis Schroeder was a six man of the year candidate that year when they were in the bubble. And although they lost and ran up against the Houston Rockets and lost, but we all thought that wasn't going to work. But OKC made it work. Sam Pressly is a damn good GM. He knows how to pick players. He knows how to position players to get the best out of them once he selects them. So if a three-guard system can work with those three guys, I think he can take Jared McCain here, a guy that can come in when Shai Gilgeous sits down, or if you want to shift the lineup and move Shai Gilgeous to the two at certain points of the game and let Jared McCain run the point, you can do that as well. Like I said, he shoots the three ball well. He plays solid defense, and he plays like an NBA starter, but I don't think he can. I think he's suited with OKC to be a better six man. That can keep the production going off the bench, and then you can slide him in certain rotations during the game and move Shai Gilgeous to the two, and then and Alex Caruso can play the three with his defensive versatility. So you got some versatility there if you take Jared McCain, and I think that's where he goes with the 12th pick, the OKC. Sacramento Kings with the 13th pick. They need to go guard here because it's rumored that they're going to get rid of. This rumor they're going to get rid of Kevin Huerter. He's a trade candidate, but I don't think Kevin Huerter is moved right now. I think Kevin Huerter may be moved at the trade deadline. So, and you could also go center here. If you're looking at a guy like Kyle Filipowski out of Duke, a big man who can stretch the floor and shoot the three ball, you can plug him in. If you want to go two bigs at certain points in the game, him and Sabonis, both guys can stretch the floor. So when one guy's out on the perimeter, the other guy can go to work in the paint and set screens and let De'Aaron Fox get downhill. So if I'm them, I would consider that because who do they have out there as the center? Backing up Sabonis. This is a 7-foot guy. I think Sabonis is listed at 6'10". Filipowski, I think he's right at 7 feet, or he's 7'1". Like I said, he can stretch the floor and shoot the three ball. A lot of Duke offense was initiated through him last year. He showed flashes of being. He's not an elite rim protector. He's not that. But he altered some shots. He was good in pick and roll situations on both ends of the floor, even though his defensive pick and roll could use a little bit, mechanical tuning, but he wasn't bad. But he was good in pick and roll situations on the offensive end. So if you got two guys that can space the floor while one guy space the floor while the other one do work in the paint, and you got a downhill point guard in De'Aaron Fox, I think they could possibly take him there. because it was rumored that they were going to trade for Zach LaVine, which that may still be in play. But I think Sacramento, like I said, got scared away by his contract. So if you're gonna move Kevin Herter, you can get Zach LaVine in there at the 2 to run with De'Aaron Fox in the backcourt. I think that would be an ideal move. And you still got Murray there. So and you just brought back Mike Brown, and you're gonna bring back Malik Monk. So you in a good situation if you can get a big, because like I said, the bigs there in Sacramento is who Alex Lynn and JaVale McGee. I think you can upgrade that with a guy like Kyle Filipowski out of Duke. He's like 7'1". Like I said, he stretched the floor and can shoot the 3 ball. So you got two guys at certain times if you want to run a 2 big lineup at certain points in the game. You can have 2 bigs stretching the floor. While one go to work in the paint, the other one could be stretching the floor, and vice versa. And you got a downhill guard like De'Aaron Fox, with all that paint being wide open because you got 2 bigs that can stretch the floor. Even Malik Monk, who can get in the paint and finish. I think that would be a good look for Sacramento at 13 if they take Kyle Filipowski. If they still interested in Zach LaVine, like I said, talks to them. They got scared away. Sacramento, that is, got scared away because of Zach LaVine's contract. But Zach LaVine will be moved, and I think Sacramento is a good fit for Zach LaVine, a high flying finisher that can run the floor with both Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox. So you got like you looking. I mean, you're in good position if you Sacramento, but I think here they can go big, a floor spacing big like Kyle Filipowski out of Duke. The last lottery team, 14 pick Portland Trailblazers on the clock again. I got them taking small forward Tristan Da Silva out of Colorado. Like I said, they got enough guards. So you're looking at the front court with DeAndre Ayton, and like I said, they was taking Cody Williams earlier. So Cody Williams being 6'10" at times, if you want to slide him down to the 4 and he can be a floor spacing stretch 4, you can do that. But Tristan Da Silva, I think he's like 6'9" or something like that. So like I said, if you Portland, you're not going anywhere this year. So if I'm them, I'm looking to move off of Jeremy Grant. As I said earlier, I'm looking to move off of Jeremy Grant. There's no reason to have Jeremy Grant on my roster paying him that kind of money when we're not going anywhere. When you can go and send him to a contender and get another asset or assets in return, it's going to help Portland in the future. You gotta look at it. You gotta look at it that way if you Chauncey Billups out there in Portland. Like I said, you got Ayton. You got Anthony Simons out there. You got Scoot Henderson, who you just selected last year. You got Shane Sharp there. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to get a 3 and move off of Jeremy Grant. And if you got, like I said, Cody Williams, if you got him at 6'10", you could probably slide him down to the 4 at times, depending on your lineup. And Matisse Thybulle is also out there. So I forgot about him. He's out there. So, you basically just take the best player available here if you the Portland Trailblazers at 14. So yeah, Tristan Da Silva, I got him going out from two Colorado guys going out to Portland. So that rounds out the 14 lottery picks for me. I just did the 14. I didn't run down the whole first round. I just did the 14. And that's with no trades. You know what I mean? So, it was rumored that some trades are going to happen or try to take place. You got Memphis that's trying to move up. You had rumors of San Antonio moving up, but I think that's done. That's dead. Like I said, Memphis, Houston, trying to make a move. And really, there's no telling it. I mean, there's teams that might trade back, or teams that might trade, or some more teams that might trade up. But I think this is pretty much a bunch of rumors. I don't think there's nothing significant gonna happen. If anything happens, It's basically for what for what Houston is trying to do. They're trying to get they got more draft capital to try to go after KD. I think the bigger moves are going to be made after the draft. You may have some small minor moves made during the draft, but I think the bigger moves are going to be made after the draft and free agency. I think teams are trying to position themselves now, and I don't think this is a draft that really uh, wowed nobody as far as players. You know what I mean? I think this is a draft where you got some guys that could potentially be something in the near future, but I don't think the guys now that are coming out, there's only a couple of them that are coming out in this draft to me that are going to be impactful right out the gate. You know, everybody else, I think they will have an impact, but I don't think it's going to be right out the gate. I think you're going to see these guys have more of an impact a couple of years from now, depending on which team they go to. Because we done seen it plenty of times. Teams take guys, they draft, they don't get out of the guy what they should get out of the guy because they drafting the guy that don't fit necessarily what they do system wise or head coaching wise for whatever team they drafting with. But to piggyback off the first pick, you got the Atlanta Hawks. Could have taken Alex Saw, but I don't think they will because, like I said, they haven't worked this guy out. This guy's been declining workouts for the Hawks. So if you look at the situation in Atlanta and you got a guy that's been declining your workouts and you Landry Fields, well, first of all, Landry Fields, I think you on the clock. They hired another guy to be an assistant GM, and I think he came from Golden State, if I'm not mistaken. They just got rid of Travis Slink, who was also at Golden State, which is something I don't understand if you're the Atlanta Hawks. To me, that's just like saying, it's almost like saying we fucked up without saying we fucked up. Because first of all, you go and get Travis Slink to get you through a rebuild, right? Travis Slink, he swaps out Trae Young and Luka Doncic. He makes that deal. Picks up an additional pick that turns into Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish didn't work. So he moved off of Cam Reddish and got a first-round pick in return, right? So the pick that he used to get Cam Reddish, he pretty much got that back because that didn't work. They chose DeAndre Hunter over Cam Reddish. They end up paying DeAndre Hunter. They made a lot of moves under Travis Slink, which I don't think were Travis Slink-like moves because Travis Slink did, dump salary. He did get assets. He did what he had to do to get a Eastern Conference final team together. But here's the part that I don't, it's kind of weird and funny in the Atlanta front office. Once the Atlanta Hawks made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, they didn't look at what lost them the Eastern Conference Finals to the Milwaukee Bucks. Even though I think that if Trae Young hadn't rolled his ankle and missed time in that series, I think the Hawks would have beat the Bucks and went to the finals and played the Suns that year with a damn good chance to be NBA champions. That's what I think. But since that didn't happen, the Hawks lost to the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Bucks went on to win the championship that year. What happened was they didn't go and look at what they needed to build on that Eastern Conference championship team. But instead, I think that Travis Slink got a team to a certain point, and he did a good job of getting the team to that point. And I think the Atlanta Hawks ownership stepped in and said, "We got it from here." It's almost like playing chess. When you playing chess and somebody that doesn't know how to play chess is watching you play chess, and you are making moves that don't really make sense to them, but you know how to play chess. So you setting your board up the way you want to move, how you want to move, how you want when you need to move. So the person that's watching you is over you. They don't understand the moves you setting up, right? So once they see you got it set up in a certain position and they feel like they can just step in and take over because you got the board looking so easy and set up and positioned the way you want it to strike whenever you need to, they remove you from the game and then they sit down and take over in your place. And the first move they make is the wrong move, and it basically just messed up everything that you set up and had going for the future. And I think that's what happened in Atlanta with Travis Slink. Travis Slink was setting some things up, and he was made to make some moves that he didn't want to make because it was going to compromise what he had on the chessboard already set up. I don't think he wanted to give up 3 first rounders for DeJounte Murray. I'm not saying he didn't want DeJounte Murray, but what I'm saying is he didn't want to give up that much to get a DeJounte Murray. I don't think he wanted to pay a John Collins. And they end up dumping John Collins for who? They got a trade exception, and then they got Rudy Gay, and they waived Rudy Gay once the trade was made official. They waived him. They didn't have plans on keeping Rudy Gay anyway. So you look at that combined with the fact that he didn't want to pay DeAndre Hunter. He wanted to try to move DeAndre Hunter. And it was from my understanding he had a deal in place with the Sacramento Kings to move John Collins before we paid him. But we paid him, and then you eventually moved John Collins as a salary dump and got nothing back in return. When you could have moved John Collins before you paid him and got a better return for John Collins. But you didn't do that. That's what made me think a lot of things that Travis Schlenk done later towards the end of his tenure with the Atlanta Hawks wasn't something he necessarily wanted to do. It was something that he was more so made to do, because the moves he made closer to his exit from Atlanta wasn't similar to the moves he made early on when he was in Atlanta, if that makes sense. It's almost like somebody stepped in and started making him do certain things that he didn't want to do. Because like I said, they didn't add on to the Eastern Conference Finals team. A good team that make it that far will look at why they lost, and it was evident why they lost. They didn't have length. They didn't have a stretch big, because at that time, Milwaukee was long. They was lengthy. They made it tough for anybody to get in the paint and do anything. With Giannis and Lopez and Bobby Portis, they made it tough for and Chris Middleton was better then than he is now. So they made it tough. And Drew Holiday, they made it tough defensively for anybody. Right? And they had a solid bench with Connaughton. So they weren't bad. They won the finals that year. They won the chip that year. So if you Atlanta, you didn't go back and you didn't evaluate why you lost that series. To me, Atlanta was just so content with making it that far that they ran it back with the same team and paid those guys. And once those guys didn't perform back up to that level, then they realized that they had to move off of some of these guys. So these guys this wasn't a team that was going to make it back that far again without any addition. You had to subtract the add, and they didn't do that. They didn't evaluate why they lost, and they didn't make no adjustments to the roster to add what they needed, and they didn't look at why they lost, and they didn't go out and get what they needed. But instead, they re-signed and ran it back with everybody and just re-signed the guys that got them there. Ideally, you would think that would work, but you didn't evaluate why you lost the series. You were just content with making it that far and with Trae Young that you didn't really add an impactful piece to the team. And when you did try to add an impactful piece, you overpaid for it. You gave up 3 first-rounders to San Antonio, which Travis Schlenk didn't want to do. Because now you compromise because you have no assets of flexibility moving into the future. So I say all that to say this. That's probably what Alex Sarr and his representatives are looking at, why they don't want was declining workouts with the Atlanta Hawks. They looking at all kinds of hell front office that Atlanta got going on. You got rid of Nate McMillan. You brought in Quinn Snyder. You probably got worse with Quinn Snyder than you were with Nate McMillan overall. So you're looking at a discombobulated front office in Atlanta, and that's probably why the reps are looking at why they don't want to be in Atlanta, even though you got players like Trae Young and DeJounte Murray there. So, and they have a young star player that's on the come up in Jalen Johnson. So he's probably looking at he ain't gonna. Well, I know this. He ain't gonna be the face. I ain't gonna say he's definitely not gonna be the face in Atlanta if he were to get drafted to Atlanta. Alex Sarr, I'm talking about, because the face in the one that's putting the asses in the seats right now is Trae Young. That's the cash cow. That's the one that's filling the seats. That's the ones that's selling the merch. That's the face of the franchise. And if you Atlanta, you can't mess this number 1 pick up, and you can't move Trae Young because of the things I just said. He's the cash cow. He's the one selling the tickets. He's selling the merch. He's putting the asses in the seats. He's the one that people want to see when they come. Combined with the fact that you traded Luka Doncic for him, and you just saw Luka Doncic play in the NBA Finals. So the guy you traded away has went to the NBA Finals before the guy that you traded for. So if you're Atlanta, you got to be feeling some type of way. And that, even though that happened on Travis Schlenk watching, not Landry Fields watch, I don't think if you had done what you're supposed to do, I think you could have the trade wouldn't look so bad. It only looks bad now because you went backwards after going to the Eastern Conference Final. If you were able to build on what you find out, reevaluate why you lost the Eastern Conference Finals and build on that, it wouldn't look so bad. But the fact that you didn't do that and you've only gotten worse since then, that's what make it look bad. Seeing the guy you traded away in the finals last year, or this past season, rather, and Luka Doncic, and looking at the state of your team and how you've been having turnovers with the head coach, turnover with the front office personnel, and now you brought in yet another GM as an assistant. That's why Landry Fields is on the hot seat, because they got a guy that came over from Golden State, in which Travis Slink came over from Golden State. That's why I say this is basically saying we fucked up without saying it. Because why would you get rid of one GM from Golden State to bring in another guy who you thought the grass was greener with him when it actually wasn't, to just go back and get another guy from Golden State, when you could have just kept the guy in Travis Slink who came from Golden State from the get-go. Just got out of his way and let him do his job. But somewhere along the line, somebody stepped in and interfered with his ability to do his job. And that's why you having these situations and these turnover rates in the front office in Atlanta. And now they going coach after coach, trying to figure it out. So that's the situation that's going on over there in Atlanta. And that's probably why Alex Sarr and his reps are looking at the situation and saying that my client is not going to maximize his potential here. Because as soon as we get acclimated with one coach, something ain't right, you fire him and you bring in another one. And that is affecting my client. And you're not getting the maximum out of my client that you should be getting. He's already not going to be the face of the team because Trae Young now. And I'm trying to maximize him so we can get the biggest contract when it's time to get the bigger payday. We're not trying to be looked at and not trying to be lowballed in any way. We're trying to get the max for our client. And I don't feel like that's going to happen if we go into an organization with a high turnover rate. Now, going to DC with the Wizards ain't going to be much better, but at least he will be the face of the team if he performs. Because who you got over there? Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma? But if you got a 7-foot guy, 7'1" guy, that's a versatile defender that can shoot the three ball, that's a good pick and roll guy that can rim protect. If he goes over there and he does what he's supposed to do and puts up the numbers he's supposed to put up, then he will be that guy in Washington. But if he does the same thing in Atlanta, it's still going to be Trae Young still going to be the guy. Because Trae Young is pretty much a 27 and 10 guy. He's a walking bucket. As soon as he walk out there on the court, you can count on him giving you 26, 27, and 10. And on any given night, he can go off of 40. So he's going to average a double-double. He's the one that was there prior to Alex Sarr. He's the one that's going to be there more than likely after Alex Sarr. And if the Hawks get rid of Trae Young, this is going to be similar to when they got rid of Dominique Wilkins. At the time they got rid of Dominique Wilkins, Dominique was the fan favorite in Atlanta. He was putting the asses in the seats. He was the face of the franchise. He was the cornerstone piece. And you move him for who? Danny Manning. A guy who eventually didn't even re-sign with you, left in free agency. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he went out west to Phoenix or somewhere. So if you move Trae Young, you will essentially be moving a fan favorite, a cornerstone piece, the guy that's putting the asses in the seats, the guy that's selling the merch, the face of your team, the guy who you traded Luka Doncic away for. All that'll be playing, and it just look bad if you Atlanta. After you done went through a couple different coaching changes and front office personnel changes. So it's not going to look good if you Atlanta if you get rid of Trae. That's why you can't get rid of Trae, and it's probably the factors that Alex Sarr and his camp is probably looking into. It's not even much so Alex Sarr because of his age, but I think it's more so his camp that's looking at this type of stuff, that's putting this in his ear to be aware of. Because as a 19-year-old going number one overall, you looking at your overall pick, first overall pick. You looking at coming to the NBA at 19, making that money. A lot of those things you're not really thinking about. Very few guys think about this. It's more so the agent that's putting this type of stuff in the kid ear, you know. But declining workouts for the Hawks, that's just basically telling them the hell with y'all. We don't want to be in Atlanta, so we're not even working out for y'all. Why would we work out for a team that we know that's not what we want to be? And if you Atlanta, why the hell would you draft a guy who's declining your workouts after you tried a couple times to schedule a workout and he's declined them both, or declined every time you tried? And it's not like you can just get on a couple. This guy's from France, so it's not like you just getting on a chartered flight for a couple hours and then boom, there and back. You're going across. You're going international, halfway across the damn world, and you can't get an interview with a guy. So why the hell would you waste a number one overall pick on a guy? And I'm not saying that he won't produce when he get here, but it's the fact that he don't want to be here. Unless they already have a deal in place, like I said, at drafting him number one, and they got a deal in place to trade him somewhere else for some more assets. And Atlanta's low on assets, so I wouldn't rule that out. But like I said, I haven't read nothing about that as of yet. But we still got a ways to go before we get to the draft tonight. So something like that could be in the works. I'm not sure of it right now, but something like that very well could be in the works. So it's the Alex R versus the Atlanta Hawks right now. So they want to work him out. He don't want to work out, and then he's gonna come back and say that he'll just he just wants to hear his name called and he just wants to be drafted. You'll hear your name called, but now you're trying to kind of downplay it. See, when you say stuff like that, it kind of makes me believe you were more so saying that. But a lot of times, like I said, the agents be putting this stuff in the client's ear and stuff like that to think about. I get it. It's business. It's business as they should. It's a lot of money to be made, and you don't want to leave no money on the table. So you want to maximize your talents to make the most money possible. And I get it. It's business. And if you don't feel like your client is going to be maximized to get the kind of money and get the kind of dollars in the future and be the face of the team that you want them to be or need to be as a number one overall pick, then I get it. But, declining workouts, knowing that the team could still draft you, it's not like if you decline a workout, they automatically eliminates them from drafting you. There's no rule to say that if this guy doesn't work out for you, then you automatically can't draft. There's no rule to say that. If he doesn't work out for the Hawks can still draft him. But I don't know why they would when he's refusing workouts, unless, like I said, they already got a deal lined up with somebody that's gonna trade for him once he get drafted, and they're gonna swap out picks and players or something like that. I don't know. I haven't heard nothing like that, like I said, but situation like that could be in play. Um, but I just wouldn't take my chances taking a guy with the first overall pick that's declined workouts with us. You know what I mean? I'm just not doing that. Especially if you Landry Fields and your job feel like it's on the line and you got the first overall pick and you got pressure out your ass to make this pick count. Because I don't in my 37 years of living, I can't remember the Hawks having the first overall pick. I remember them having the second overall pick and they blundered that one with Marvin Williams. But that's another conversation for another time. But I remember that. That's the highest pick I remember them having in our 37, and they messed that one up. So if you Landry Fields and you on the clock, and another GM has been brought in as to be an assistant, that's basically is you better get this shit right, or you out of here because we already got your replacement in here. So with this pick here, he gotta hit it. He gotta hit it right, and that's why I don't think they're gonna take Alex Saw because he's been declining workouts. So why would you take a guy that's been declining workouts and your job is on the line? Now, if you had job security, but even if you had job security, I just wouldn't. That's too risky with the first overall pick, in my opinion. So that's where I'm at with it. But if you the Hawks, you got to get this shit right because you're gonna lose Trae Young if you don't get this right. You're gonna lose the cash cow. You're gonna lose the fan favorite. You're gonna lose the face of your franchise if you don't get this shit right. I think Trae, looking at a lot of things, like he wants to win. I think he's looking at now the guy that he was traded for, the guy that he was swapped for on draft night, and Luka Doncic has been to the finals. I think Trae Young is looking at the team as like, when are we going to add pieces to get better? There's a lot of other teams out there going for the gusto since Trae's been drafted. I think he's looking at the situation is why we keep having a turnover between coaching. So you got to get this shit right to keep Trae. So, and if you Atlanta, you got to bring Trae in there and you got to just sit down and you got to really sell him and know the direction you're going in. I don't think Atlanta really has a plan of the direction they're going in. I think they show their hand too much, in my opinion. And I think that's one thing that Travis didn't do. I think that's why Travis was able to make some smart moves because he didn't show his hand. And I think now the front office that Travis is gone is starting to show their hand. That's why I don't think they're gonna get proper compensation for DeJounte Murray if they move him, because they put it out there that they want to move one of the two, if not both. Now I don't know why they will put it out there and lower his value, because now teams know you want to get rid of him because they see other moves you want to make. So now they can lowball you. So that's what I mean by they showed their hand. But one thing Travis didn't do is he didn't show his hand. That's why he was able to get the better deals to better the team. And obviously they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, in a freak accident happened with Trey turning his ankle on the ref's foot. I don't know how the hell that happened. That's a freak accident that rarely ever happens. But that's the situation you got on Atlanta with the first overall pick. That's why you can't miss, because having the first pick, you haven't had the first pick. Like I said, I don't remember in my 37 years of living of them having the first overall pick up until now. The highest I know them having was the second pick, and like I said, they took Marvin Williams, and that shit just didn't work out at all. So, subscribe to the page, like this video, hit the notification bell so you can get all notifications when I drop content. Like I said, man, shout out to AIG Productions for helping put this together and make it happen. Until the next episode, man, I'll see y'all, man. Peace.